Tonight, the Next Gen cast gives Picard one last adventure. Obi-Wan gets pushed back. Ezra Miller is in deep trouble. Captain America sells for a high. Plus, remember Nehemiah, Persoff, and Kathryn Hayes. All that and more, plus an interview with Mr. Fish Lee on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. There are many universes out there. Welcome to the one with news about all the others. This is Multiverse Tonight. Now, here's your host, Thomas Townley. Well, hello there and welcome to episode 161 of Multiverse Tonight. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. Now, you might have seen this past week the trailers dropped for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the spin-off series from Discovery, prequel series to the original Star Trek. And while I was watching this, I was thinking, well, how do you follow up Strange New Worlds? Why not just redo the original Star Trek series? Almost shot-for-shot remake of the original Star Trek series. I mean, think about it. You have almost half the cast set up already. They've already hired a Kirk. You got a Uhura, you got a Spock, you got, Nurse Chapel, and all that. You could go back and basically just reshoot the original series, almost shot for shot. You could clean up some things like dialogue here and there. Maybe an episode or two that just doesn't quite hit as well this time around. But that's my idea. I'm also preparing for Planet Comic-Con in a little over a week. That'll be a nice time. That's vacation for me. So, looking forward to that. But anyway, let's go on to the Star Trek news. And we start Star Trek news today with Star Trek Picard, which dropped some news for First Contact Day. The former cast of The Next Generation will be the current cast of Picard's third season. Patrick Stewart, the Next Generation co-stars LeVar Burton, Michael Dorn, Jonathan Frakes, Gates McFadden, Maria Sirtis, and Brent Spiner will all be back. Now, Spiner, Sirtis, and Frakes have made appearances in seasons 1 and 2. Terry Mathias, Season 3 showrunner, executive producer, told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "I remember watching the premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation almost 34 years ago with my father, like it was yesterday. It was the spark that ignited my love for science fiction, so it's most fitting that the story of Jean-Luc Picard ends honoring the beginning. With his dearest and most loyal friends from the USS Enterprise, it would be an understatement to say that giving these characters a proper send-off is an honor. The entire Star Trek Picard team and I can't wait for fans to experience this final high-stakes Starship-bound adventure in Season 3, unquote. Testing. Okay. All right, continuing on. The designers of the new game Star Trek Resurgence, speaking with Space.com, revealed that the game is a game changer for sci-fi fans. The game from Dramatic Labs is set during the Next Generation era, where gamers solve a mystery centered around two clashing alien civilizations. It's due to be released later this year for PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox Series X/S. Dramatic Labs is an independent studio making up over 20 ex-Telltale Games employees, writers, designers, producers, and etc. The epic storyline unfolds with two separate characters and should be familiar to fans of Telltale-style games with upgrades and refinements built in. In addition to the entirely new crew aboard the Federation starship USS Resolute in the year 2380, the game features fan-favorite character cameos like Ambassador Spock, and species like the Vulcans, the Trill, and the Cardassians. Gamers will direct the actions and decisions of First Officer Jared Rydek and Engineer Carter Diaz, with the choices of each crew member having an impact on the other's path. Lead writer Dan Martin told Space.com, quote, "We want Resurgence to deliver on a wide range of the elements you think of when you close your eyes and picture Star Trek, and our team has put an enormous amount of care into making sure we get the look and sound of Trek right. We have tricorders, phasers, shuttlecraft, but that's hard. Star Trek is about relationships and the tough decisions of command, whether you're making them as a starship captain or as a boots-on-the-ground commander with their back to the wall," unquote. And she continues, "So it was crucial to give the Resolute a crew you'd want to be a part of, but also one that would challenge the player when it came time to make the hard calls in the same way that Spock and McCoy push and pull on Captain Picard's decision-making," unquote. Now, when asked to discuss the game's characters and choice-based narrative, Dan answered, quote, "Players experience Star Trek Resurgence through two point-of-view characters, Jared Rydek, the new first officer of the Resolute, and Carter Diaz, an enlisted crew member in engineering. With players inhabiting both of these characters, they can explore mysteries and unravel the story from two different very angles, each taking on unique challenges. And players will get to see certain characters in different lights, and it's exciting to show two sides to life aboard the starship. Jara, as first officer, is tasked with carrying out the captain's orders, but is also in a better position to push back on them. So that's the role that she has. And of course, Carter's would have different flavor than that being on the senior staff, and he'll have different actions that Jara can have on the bridge. Star Trek Resurgence lands later this year for PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox X and S. Star Trek Lower Decks has been nominated for Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form by the World Science Fiction Society's Hugo Awards. Now, Lower Decks is specifically nominated for the Ouija Du, a daring episode written by Kathryn Lynn and directed by Bob Suarez. Lower Decks is going up against episodes from The Wheel of Time, For All Mankind, Arcane, The Expanse, and Loki. And some Strange New Worlds information. Strange New Worlds' first tie-in novel has been announced. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The High Country by John Jackson Miller comes out on November 8th. Here's the synopsis quote. "When an experimental shuttlecraft fails, Captain Christopher Pike suspects a mechanical malfunction, only to discover the very principles of which Starfleet bases its technology have simply stopped functioning. He and his crewmates are forced to abandon ship in a dangerous maneuver that scares their party across the strangest new world they've ever encountered. First Officer Una finds herself fighting to survive an untamed wilderness where dangers lurk at every turn. Young Cadet Nyota Uhura struggles in a volcanic wasteland where things are not as they seem. Science Officer Spock is missing altogether, and Pike gets a chance to fulfill a childhood dream, the life of a cowboy in a world where the tools of the 23rd century are of no use. Yet, even in the saddle, Pike is still very much a starship captain. For all the responsibilities that entails, setting out to find his crewmates, he encounters a surprising face from his past, and discovers that one people's utopia might be someone else's purgatory. He must lead an exodus, or risk a calamity of galactic proportions that even Starship Enterprise is powerless to stop." Unquote. Well, that sounds like a very good book. ReedPop has announced that it will have its next Star Trek Con in Seattle, Washington, at the Washington State Convention Center on May 26th to May 28th, 2023. Tickets for the Seattle event will go on sale this June when ReedPop announces the first guests and exhibitors. Future Star Trek missions will, of course, travel to a new city each year. More information is available at the Star Trek Missions website. ReadPop produces the conventions in partnership with Paramount Consumer Products. Now let's go on to the Star Trek news. Or Star Wars news.
Roger, roger.
Oh, we did the Star Trek news, didn't we? The Hollywood Reporter took a closer look at the viewing data for Disney Plus, and it revealed, that Marvel and Star Wars shows are the biggest draws for the streamer. Although the number of shows and episodes is not very high, owing in part to the pandemic-related disruptions in production shortly after Disney Plus launched, the streamer has had a Marvel or Star Trek Wars series running new episodes almost continuously since Season 2 of The Mandalorian premiered in October 2020. Now, the six live-action Star Wars shows and Marvel shows have generated 36 billion minutes of viewing time in the weeks that original episodes aired. All 6 series remained comfortably on top throughout their runs, only dropping out in the weeks after their season finales, when they record several billion more minutes of viewing, and of course continue to be watched at levels beyond 10th place in the Nielsen rankings. Of the live-action series, The Mandalorian is the clear leader. Nielsen's year-end streaming chart for 2021 said Disney Plus users watched about 14.5 billion minutes of the series during the course of the year, with the majority, 8.4 billion, coming in the 8 weeks that Season 2 debuted. Now, more remarkably is how the first season of The Mandalorian performed. The Mandalorian performed on day 1 of Disney Plus, November 12th, 2019, and by its first quarter, Disney had 26.5 million worldwide subscribers. Now, previously unrevealed Nielsen figures for Season 1 indicate that the series amassed 5.42 billion minutes of viewing time during its 7-week run, topping out at 1.15 billion during the week its finale premiered. It added 100 million more minutes the week after its finale. Now, to draw that much viewer interest with relatively small subscriber base at the time illustrates just how eager Disney Plus users, which now total 43 million in the US and Canada alone, were to see the first live-action Star Wars series. Now, none of the Marvel shows has stopped either Mandalorian season in terms of total viewing time, although Loki came close during its first season in June and July. The 6-episode season drew 5.23 billion minutes of watch time and was the first and thus far only Marvel series to exceed 1 billion minutes in a single week. Now, by virtue with a smaller episode order, Loki had the highest average watch time of any Marvel or Star Trek series, with slightly less than 872 million minutes per episode in its 6 weeks. Yeah, bravo. The premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi has been pushed back just a couple of days from Wednesday to Friday, May 27th. The news was given via Obi-Wan star Ewan McGregor via Disney Plus's Twitter account. He said, quote, "Hello, Star Trek fans. Thank you all for your incredible support and response to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have some important news. Our premiere date is moving just a couple of days from Wednesday to Friday, May 27th. But here's the exciting part. The first 2 episodes will premiere together, so make sure you tune in to both episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, streaming Friday, May the 27th, exclusively on Disney Plus." Unquote. Like my impression there of Ewan McGregor? Director Peter Ramsey has been tapped to direct at least 1 episode of the Ahsoka spin-off series at Disney Plus. Now, Peter made history, becoming the first black filmmaker to win the animated feature Oscar as a co-director on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Shooting begins in Los Angeles later this month. The episode count and additional directors have not been revealed. Lucasfilm, of course, has not commented. So, take that as for what you will. Now, let's go on to some good old-fashioned DC Comics news. The acquisition of Warner Media by Discovery was completed this past Friday. The new company is named Warner Brothers Discovery and will begin trading on NASDAQ on Monday under the ticker symbol WBD. Warner Media owns HBO, HBO Max, CNN, Warner Brothers, DC Films, New Line Cinema, TBS, TNT, True TV, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Turner Sports, and Rooster Teeth, among other brands, and is part owner of the CW Network alongside Paramount. Discovery is the parent of Discovery Plus, Discovery Channel, HGTV, Food Network, TLC, Investigation Discovery, Travel Channel, Turbo Velocity, Animal Planet, Science Channel, and OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. Now, at the close of the Warner Media spinoff, AT&T had said it expected to reap $43 billion, and the new WBD is to assume up to approximately $43 billion of additional debt. AT&T aimed to use the proceeds from Warner Media spinoff to pay down net debt, which stood at $156.2 billion at the end of 2021. Mark Russell, writer of DC's critically acclaimed run on the Flintstones, will be teaming up with iZombie co-creator Michael Allred on a new miniseries set in the days leading up to the end of DC's original multiverse during Crisis on Infinite Earths, and featuring a stylized look at Superman. Titled Superman Space Age, the story will launch in July and publish every 2 months. Now, this marks the second official outing for Russell with Superman after Story in the Future State event, but he is a Second Coming, a creator-owned comic where Jesus teams up with a Superman analog. The official solicitation text reads, quote, "Meet Clark Kent, a young reporter who just learned that the world will soon come to an end, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there's nothing he can do to save it. Sounds like a job for his alter ego, Superman. Superman Space Age from critically acclaimed writer Mark Russell, One Star Squadron and the Flintstones, and Eisner winner artist Mike Allred, Silver Surfer and Bowie Stardust, Ray Guns, and Moon Age Daydreams, will be available in comic shops on July 26, 2022. After years of standing idle, the young man from Krypton defies the wishes of his fathers to come out to the world as the first superhero of the space age. As each decade passes and each new danger emerges, he wonders if this is the one that will kill him and everyone he loves. Superman realizes that even good intentions are not without their backlash, as the world around him transforms into a place as determined to destroy itself as he is to save it." Unquote. Sounds interesting. Now, some troubling news. According to an insider speaking with Rolling Stone, Ezra Miller's recent arrest has prompted an emergency meeting at Warner Brothers about the star of the star's future. Excuse me. Now, Ezra, who has starred in The Flash in the DCU movies and Credence Barebone in the Fantastic Beasts movies, reportedly threatened to burn a couple in Hawaii last week, according to court documents surrounding their arrest. Stoyan Kozukarov and his wife, Nigel Hayes, filed a temporary restraining order against Miller after alleging that Miller burst into their bedroom window and threatened to burn them. According to Rolling Stone, the meeting was to discuss pausing all future projects involving Miller, as well as any public appearances involving the actor. An insider revealed that Miller had, quote, frequent meltdowns, unquote, during the production of The Flash, and that they were, quote, losing it, unquote, on set, but were not violent. Quote, "Ezra would get a thought in their head and say, 'I don't know what I'm doing,'" an unnamed source shared. Now, there's no word on if this will alter the release of The Flash, which is currently scheduled to come out in theaters on November 4th. Pacific Rim Uprising's Hart Adams has joined the cast of the CW's upcoming Bat spinoff, Gotham Knights, in the lead role. The actor joins Oscar Morgan as Turner Hayes, Olivia Rose Keegan as Duella Dent, Navia Robinson as Carrie Kelly, Fallon Smythe as Harper Rowe, Tyler DiChara as Cullen Rowe, and Misha Collins as Harvey Dent on the show, which centers on a Gotham that descends into chaos after the death of Batman. Wrongly suspected of the murder of Bruce Wayne, the children of some of Batman's greatest enemies have to work together as the heroes make a desperate city needs while remaining on the run from the authorities that are trying to clear their own names. Sounds CW-y. Let's go on to the Marvel news. Marvel's Eisner Award-winning Black Widow comic series has ended with issue 15. Now, according to a letter at the end of the issue from editor Sarah Bernstad, the letter reads, quote, "Our legendary run is ending for now. We could not be more grateful to the collaborators who made this book extraordinary and the fans who picked up our book month after month. From the very first day, I sat down next to Kelly at an editorial retreat and said, 'So what about Black Widow?' To the day we've got Elizabeth Yamiko on board to ink Elena's pencils. I've known we had a special book on our hands. We've become a close-knit group. And it's a bittersweet feeling to see our collective work realized here. Natasha Romanoff's had it good. Who knows what's next? Until then, true believer, stay sharp and wear black. Unquote. The series won the Best New Series Award at the 2021 Eisners. Not only will there be two different versions of Dr. Stephen Strange and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, according to director Sam Raimi, we can expect a lot of different Wanda Maximoffs as well. Speaking with Fandango, he confirmed, quote, yes, the movie is a journey into the multiverse, so you do see different iterations of Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange and even Lizzie Olsen's character of Wanda Maximoff. So the characters have to play that. It's a great challenge for them and great fun to direct them playing these altered versions of themselves, unquote. Yeah, that movie does look good. Oh, get out your wallets, folks. A copy of Captain America #1 from 1940 has been sold at auction for, get this, $3,120,000. Now, this would make, including the buyer's premium, makes it one of the top 5 most expensive comics ever sold. The issue was part of a Heritage Auctions comics and comic book art event. The issue features a cover of Captain America punching Adolf Hitler in the jaw. Now, there are only 3 copies at the high CGC grade of 9.4, and only one other of them has been up for auction. According to a CGC census, a sold 9.8 copy exists, but has never seen the light of day in an auction house. Now, let's stop by for an interview with Mr. Fish Lee. Recording started, counter going, fingers crossed. All right. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. It's interview time here on Multiverse Tonight. And today I'm with comic book man Fish Lee. Hello, Fish.
Howdy. Glad to be here.
All right, tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
I am a professional indie comic book illustrator. I have done like over 30 books in the last 3 years since comics became my full-time gig. I like to say I'm the fastest pen in the West because there's not a whole lot of people that can work faster than me. I'm a one-man shop. You give me a script, I give you a finished book. I've been having a lot of fun doing other people's books, but now I'm doing my own book, Green Zone Life in the Blocks, that's on Kickstarter now. You can go to gomrfish.com. I'll take you right to it. And it follows a group of superpowered genomes on their first shift on the police force as they're trying to earn their citizenship back in a world that sees them as criminals just for being born with superpowers. And it's an exciting book. It's doing well on Kickstarter. I'm really excited. And I mainly can't wait for everybody else to get to read it because it's such an exciting world. And oh, there's so much juicy storytelling in it that I get excited. I get riled up.
That's great. Tell people how you got into comic books.
I have severe Tourette syndrome, which isn't just a swearing disease like people think it is in the movies. But for me, I spent like 15 years stuck in a wheelchair or this recliner. And most days I couldn't walk, talk, or see on my own because I would shake so violently. My tics will keep my jaw clamped shut, my eyes clamped shut. Like it was really hard to function for a very, very long time. Now I'm lucky that with medication and certain treatments that I started trying and learning to live with it and surf the waves of the Tourette's rather than stand in the ocean and try and fight against it, I started to get a little bit better. I learned the things that I needed to keep up with, like getting plenty of sleep, eating every day, getting exercise, things like that made life better. So a few years ago, things started to ease up enough that I could start trying to do some work again. But I still live with the limitations of, I've still got a neurological disease. I can't always talk on the phone. I can't stand for a long time because of damage I've done to my body over the years from falling down and stuff. And it's hard to find somebody that's like, yeah, I'll pay you 40 hours a week. Maybe you can come in tomorrow. Maybe you can't. We'll just see how it goes. Not a lot of businesses are that flexible. So I had to build a freelance career again from the ground up. I used to be a freelance artist. I knew at least I could do that from home and work around my condition. And this time around, technology and social media and print on demand services had come so far since the last time I was doing this that now it was possible to make a living in comic books. I like to joke I make comic books nobody's going to read, because it's, it's straight to Kickstarter stuff usually that gets like 200 backers. And, those 200 people really enjoy the books, but that's
Mm-hmm.
about as far as it goes. But it's paid my bills. It's let me feed my kids, keep a roof over my kids' head. I worked all through COVID. It's been amazing. And I had been in some of these groups on Facebook. I'd been talking with people. I'd been showing off some of my art, saying I was available for commissions. They would hit me up. Those commissions start to go around. People are bragging about the great work that you did, how easy you were to work with. Next thing you know, I had more work piled up than I could do. I was often booked for 6 months to a year in advance. And it's been a really amazing ride.
So, other than this new comic you're coming out, what comics have you worked on in the past?
I have worked on The Power Company from Coalition Comics, which is a group of independent comic creators that came together and made their like own multiversal Justice League, where, this major threat came, and so they pulled heroes from all these different books into one universe to fight this threat. And that's been a lot of fun to work on. I've done 5 or 6 issues of the Sentinels for Roy Johnson at Standard Comics, which is a bunch of, it's basically like, a JSA type league heroes, of public domain heroes mostly, that, have been forgotten about. And we've revamped them and put in a few filler characters that Roy made up. And that has been a fun series to work on. There's been all kinds of emotion and drama, and it's been juicy to work on. Illustrating 5 Star for Tony Clapper at FSK, which is the publisher, Freestyle Comics, that's publishing my book, Green Zone. Um, Goodness gracious, I've got like 30 something books on the wall around
Mm-hmm.
me in my studio to keep me inspired and remind me of what I've done. I did my own book about 4 years ago now, T-Man and Hyperstrike,
Mm-hmm.
which was a book about a superhero team where he is the living embodiment of Tourette syndrome and she has ADHD. And it was purely designed to inspire little kids growing up like me with a neurological disease, and encourage them before the world beats them down and tells them, that they're a weirdo, and help them focus on all the things that makes us awesome. Because, yeah, I have Tourette syndrome and I twitch and jerk and I belt out weird things sometimes, but I also have incredible reflexes. My
Mm-hmm.
mind's extremely creative. I have ideas pouring out of me all day long. I My brain runs fast. I work a whole lot faster than all of my competitors. I'm funny. Like, there's a lot of good things that
Mm-hmm.
come with it. I like to say the ticks are just our bodies burning off all the extra awesomeness. And so I wanted to encourage the kids before the bullies beat them down and they grow up into adults that are afraid to go grocery shopping. Like, you're awesome. You are cool just the way you are. Own it, be proud of yourself. And since I put that book out,
Mm-hmm.
it got enough attention that I've been working full time ever since on everybody else's books. Excuse
Great.
me.
What's your favorite part about creating comics, anyway?
The storytelling, like, that is what really draws me into it. I like to say I'm a storyteller at heart. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm just telling you the story of my day. I like to craft it into a good story that's interesting, not just, yeah, I checked the mail, but, I took a journey across the yard through the summer heat. Like, I mean, you can make it interesting
Yeah.
and not be lying about it. And, whether it's that or it's, preaching or whatever, I enjoy crafting good stories. And I think that's one of the things that I really bring to the table, opposed to a lot of the people I'm competing with for these jobs, is the storytelling aspect that I bring. And you give me a script full of good ideas, and I'm going to bring my storytelling ideas to that too, and make it the best we can possibly make it. And as long as you're open to the collaborative process, we're going to put out an amazing book. And that's the thing that I get complimented on the most, is the storytelling and the emotions and stuff that I bring to the characters.
All right. Okay, so what's your favorite comic book character that you haven't created?
That I have not created?
Yes.
I'm always a fan of the guys you could hope to be, like the Batmans and the Iron Mans. Like, if I tried hard enough, or if I could figure out a way to fit a jet booster into a boot, I could maybe make myself fly. Like, if I tried hard enough, I could do that. I love the idea of those characters. And I own a lot of Batman comics, but ultimately, like, Spider-Man is the guy I have the most comics of, the guy that I seem to enjoy the most all the time. And it never fails when something's across the room. I always try to use the web shooters to grab it. That's the one thing I wish I could have more than anything. I would use it for totally stupid stuff, but just, getting that remote across the room, I would do it in a heartbeat.
All right. All right, let's do a little random question time. I have my deck of random question cards.
Ooh, goody.
Pod decks. These are always great. Let's see. Let's pick one here. If you were designing your own fragrance to represent you, what would you call it?
Subtlety. Because with my Tourette's, I have sensory issues that come along with it, because like nowadays most everybody gets diagnosed with Tourette's gets an autism diagnosis too. Back in my day, you only got an autism diagnosis if you were nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
But so like I'm always looking for scents that smell nice, smell clean, but are subtle and not like entirely overwhelming. So my scent would absolutely be like more like a clean linen scent type thing, and it would be kind of low and subtle and not here I am kind of smells.
All right. Well, let's go with what is your kryptonite?
Chocolate, cake, cookies, pie. I I
Oh
have
yeah.
zero impulse control when it comes to that stuff. Like, I can avoid the aisle in the grocery store. I can have strength for 10 minutes and not go down the candy aisle and the cookies and stuff. But when it's at the house, I can fight it off for a day, two max, and then it's gone.
All right. What do you keep on your desk or workspace area that boosts your mood?
Hmm. My little He-Man that my wife got me, because I'm a
He-Man.
huge He-Man fan. I want a little Fakor to go with him, the same size. I have a little knockoff Lego version of
Mm-hmm.
Fakor, but the fact that they're not the same scale or style bugs me, so I don't put them together.
All right. One last one here. What does your typical Friday night look like?
I work and work and work until it's time to do our podcast, Friday, 5 Star Fridays, and then where we interview indie comic creators and stuff. And then once that's over, I eat dinner with my wife, and then I usually go back to working until it's time to go to bed.
That's kind of my life too. I work at Walmart when I'm not podcasting. So
Yeah,
40 hours 40 hours a week. I'm doing sporting goods.
indie comics, working in comics is fun, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also hard work and it's a lot of work. And,
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, I make per day now what I used to make per hour doing logo designs. But I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy my work so much more, and I'm always working with people that know what they're doing and have commissioned artists before. And with logo design, you're always working with somebody who's never done this. They don't know what to expect. And you spend so much time stressing out and holding their hands, and they don't know what they want. And, oh, I love it. This is great. Well, now I showed it to my neighbor and he doesn't like it. So now we have to change it all. Okay, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh, I showed my sister and she doesn't like it. So now we have to change it all. And it's so frustrating. Where with comics, man, I send you the finished pages. You tell me how awesome I am and how amazing it is. It feels good. Everybody's happy. The book does great. It's all fun. So that's worth the loss in pay to me.
All right. Well, Mr. Lee, let's go out. Tell people anything you want them to know.
Anything I want them to know. You can do anything that you set your mind to. if there's something that's really driving you that you want to accomplish, you can do it. Maybe you have to find different ways to get there, like I have with my Tourette syndrome, but you can do it.
All right. Well, Fish, thank you for joining us today. Now, be sure to go over to his Kickstarter. Go through
It's
gomrfish.com.
MR Fish. Like,
MR. Ooh.
yeah, go Mr. Fish.
Let me fix that real quick. Go, Mr. Fish.
Nice and short.
Live podcasting, folks. Live podcasting.
Yeah. But
There
yeah,
we go.
yeah, GOMRFISH. That's it. You can
All right.
find the Kickstarter there. Give it a back. It's a really great book. You're going to love it.
All right. Thank you very much, and I hope to talk with you again real soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Recording started. Counter going. Just noticed we're going to have to do that again, folks. Geek news. Kevin Smith is doing something crazy again. This time, it's releasing a movie as an NFT. Kevin Smith and his producers, Jordan Monsanto of Smodco and David Shapiro of Sempcore, have partnered with Secret Networks Legendio to launch NFTs of their horror anthology, Kilroy Was Here. Smith's film will be the first in history to be released in this format, expanding the possibilities of what NFTs can provide in a quickly evolving entertainment business. The film, directed by Smith from his and Andy McElfresh's script, is a throwback anthology horror pick featuring a creature that kills evil adults at the behest of victimized children. The movie itself, along with exclusive content from the film, behind-the-scenes footage, and a commentary track, will be released as a 555-piece generative art NFT collection on Secret Networks' primary NFT minting platform, Legendio, which will collaborate with Sempcore and Curio, the premier NFT platform for entertainment brands, to produce the Kilroy Was Here collection. Sorry. Not interested. That's silly. Well, speaking of silly, the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards are always a bit silly. And I won't go over the complete list of winners because, well, frankly, not a lot of the winners are really, geek. They're kind of geek adjacent, but really not, Plus, this is a long episode already. The favorite male TV star winner was Tom Hiddleston with Loki. The favorite movie was Spider-Man No Way Home. Favorite movie actress went to Zendaya for Spider-Man No Way Home and to Tom Holland for favorite movie actor for Spider-Man No Way Home. And Disney's Encanto won favorite animated movie. Congratulations to the winners. According to Deadline.com, the Blacklist is partnering with Academy Award-winning studio Sony Pictures Animation for its first ever writers program geared toward emerging diverse talent in animation. The Sony Pictures Animation X, the Blacklist Writers Program, will select one writer to work in-house at the studio for a 6-month period, with that creative being responsible for crafting dialogue for custom animation pieces, diving into scripts on the development slate, pitching their ideas, and more. They'll receive $50,000 for their services, which will be covered under the jurisdiction of the Sony Pictures Animation IATC agreement. Now, only individual writers interested in developing their skill set in the world of animation, who represent global diverse audiences, need apply for the program. Now, scripts submitted can come from any genre and be in the form of a feature film, play, musical, although plot scripts won't be accepted. Now, they do not need to be animated. They'll just serve as samples. Submitting writers must be able to commit full-time to the program, which will be 6 months from the fall through the winter, and submissions are now open via blacklist.com and will close on July 8th. Selected winners will be notified of their placement and receive next steps this summer. E1 is working on a TV series based on the Paramount Hitman comic books from writer Brett Murphy and illustrator Wilson Gandolfo. Billed as Ghostbusters meets Pulp Fiction, Paranormal Hitmen is an irreverent action comedy that follows Gene Rizzo and Devian Grace, two mob hitmen whose lives are turned upside down when they're accidentally recruited into a secret government agency tasked with hunting down paranormal threats. These low-down criminals then face threats from the living and the dead, determined to control the world of the paranormal while literally confronting ghosts of their past. E1 will produce the TV series under the late Hasbro CEO's Brian Goldner's Alter Rock label, with Goldner and Josh Feldman exec producing alongside Murphy and Gandolfo. Writer Laura Cosden has been hired to adapt the comic book script Mercy Sparks from MGM, the Picture Company, and the Ensemble Media. Now created by Josh Blaylock, the title protag is the female demon sent from hell to Earth on a mission which she must complete while hiding among humans. On Earth, Mercy has an existential crisis, and begins to see the gray area between good and evil, which forces her to choose a place within it and compromises her mission. The comic debuted 10 years ago via Devil's Due Publishing, and the IP has been seen by the studio as a franchise with an empowering female character at the center. Netflix's Lock and Key will end with Season 3, which seems to be a habit for Netflix. Now, Netflix approached the creative team with a 3-year run, so this is not unexpected. Executive producer and showrunners said in a statement, quote, "Once we began working on the series, we felt 3 seasons was an ideal length for the story of the Locke family and their key house adventures to a satisfying conclusion," unquote. Disney's upcoming comedy series, The Muppets Mayhem, has had Taj Mowry from Baby Daddy to the cast. Deadline has confirmed he will star opposite Lily Singh as the series is being developed and written by the Goldberg's creator, Adam F. Goldberg, Muppets vets Bill Beretta, and Jeff Yorks. The Muppets Mayhem follows the Electric Mayhem Band as they go on an epic musical journey to finally record their first studio album. Beverly Hills Cop 4 has picked Mark Malloy to direct the Netflix release. Now, the movie is a one-time licensing deal between Netflix and Paramount. Abdel El Arbi and Balil Falah are on board to direct the long-awaited fourth installment of the series, but Malloy has replaced them after the duo moved on to direct Warner Brothers' Batgirl. Eddie Murphy is expected to star in the new film, reprising his role as Axel Foley, which first appeared in the 1984 Fish Out of Water movie based in Beverly Hills. And we close on some sad news. Actor Nehemiah Persoff has passed away. The character actor had a career that spanned over 50 years. Born in Jerusalem on August 2nd of 1919, his family immigrated to the U.S. in 1929. Among his early film roles was the driver during the I Could Have Been a Contender scene in the movie On the Waterfront, Leo the Accountant in The Harder They Fall with Humphrey Bogart, and the gangster boss in Little Bonaparte, a parody of Little Caesar in Billy Wilder's film classic Some Like It Hot. And he appeared with Steiger in Al Capone. He also appeared in supporting roles in films such as The Comanchador, in films such as The Greatest Story Ever Told, and the film Yentl. He portrayed the father of Barbra Streisand's character. He appeared in the comedy film Twins and the movie American Tail as Papa Moskowitz. His last movie was Four Faces in 1999, the last film to be directed by Ted Post. He also has a number of TV credits, including The Twilight Zone, The Untouchables, Naked City, Route 66, Seaway, The Legend of Jesse James, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Columbo, Gilligan's Island, and The Wild West, Hawaii Five-0, Mission Impossible, Adam 12, The Mod Squad, Barney Miller, and an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. He appeared as the Eastern Alliance leader in an episode of Battlestar Galactica, and so much more. Persoff retired in 1999. His wife passed away in 2021, and they had 4 children. He died on April 5th from heart failure. Nehemiah Persoff was 102 years old. Actress Kathryn Hayes has passed away. Now, she is known mainly for her role of Kim Sullivan/Hughes on the soap opera As the World Turns for 38 years, but she'll be remembered by Truckies for her role in the 1968 episode of the original series, The Empath, as the title character, an empath named Jem. Now, born in Princeton, Illinois, Hayes began her professional acting career in the 1960s with appearances on such series as Hawaiian Eye, Surfside 6, Naked City, and Route 66. In 1963, she portrayed a schools teacher in director Frank Perry's social consciousness Cold War thriller Ladybug. Around the same time, she appeared in several Broadway productions, The Irregular Verb, To Love the Moon Besieged, and Mary Mary. Numerous TV guest star roles followed through the decade and into the 70s, including such a series as The High Chaparral, Mannix, Here Comes the Brides, Marcus Welby, M.D., Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law, and Night Gallery. Now, Hayes joined CBS's As the World Turns in August of 1972, and over the course of 4 decades featured prominently in various soap opera storylines of romance, health crisis, and family troubles. One early controversial story involved marital rape, a rarely discussed issue at the time. She is survived by her daughter and son-in-law, Sherry and Bob Mancasi, 3 grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She was 87 years old. And that brings us to the end of this edition. Yay! Be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, check out the show notes, visit our TeePublic store, and so much more. Head on over to multiversetonight.com And be sure to leave us with some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. If you're a subscriber, be sure to share us with friends. And if you're brand new to the show, thank you. Thank you very much. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching this edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more sci-fi and comic book news. Now please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2022. All rights reserved.